Welcome to our home.
Come on in and join us.
Thank you for sharing a part of your Christmas season with us.
We hope you enjoy these 12 days of Vlogmas from the Old House on the Corner.
Hello and welcome back to Old House on the Corner. Today we are doing a tag video, a Christmas Q&A tag video that Val at Faith Foster Fire Life tagged us in. So we're going to answer the questions and tag a few other people in maybe. If you can't do it, we know this is a busy time of year, so we understand that.
Don't feel pressured.
But if you can, it's fun and we enjoy it, and it's a good way to find out about other vlogs that we follow.
Yep, we'd love to see your answers too.
So, question number 1. What is your favorite Christmas movie?
I had to think about this for a little while, and I finally answered probably White Christmas with Bing Crosby and Danny Kaye. Before Claudia and I got married, I'd never seen this movie actually. So Claudia actually introduced this movie to me, and since then it's kind of become a tradition for me to watch that movie within the last week before Christmas. So that's my favorite movie for Christmas.
I would have to say for me, my favorite is The Nativity Story. Again, we have the tradition of watching it Christmas Eve or Christmas Day with the kids ever since it came out. And a close second would be White Christmas, because that's another one that, I mean, I've always loved it. I've always loved musicals, so that one is something I've liked since I was a kid. But the Nativity story with White Christmas is a close second.
Second question, have you ever had a White Christmas?
Oh yes. In fact, I remember very few non-White Christmases in my childhood. I've always lived in upstate New York, central New York growing up, right in a snow belt.
Part of the snow belt of New York State.
And then moving. I've probably had fewer Christmases that were white since we've been married than as a child growing up, I would say.
We get less snow here than you did where you were growing up.
Definitely. I moved south.
Yep, definitely moved south. But we have had quite a few White Christmases here, even in the southern part of the state. So.
Yep. Number 3, where do you spend your holidays? So we made a commitment when we got married and we're living here. You know, we have 2 families, 2 separate everythings, trying to figure out what you're doing as a couple, and we decided we would alternate holidays. So if we went to my parents for Thanksgiving, we'd be with his parents for Christmas, and then the next year we would flip and do Thanksgiving with his parents and Christmas with my family. So we did that up until last year. Basically was the first year that changed with Mom moving down here. But I would say we don't always do the same thing Christmas Day. Like some years we'd do Christmas Day with your mom and sister and her family, and some years we'd just do our family on Christmas Day, and then another day do Christmas with his extended family. When we went up to my parents, we would do Christmas Eve at Lee and Kay's for a number of years until that stopped. And then we would do Christmas Day morning with my parents. We'd do stockings, then we'd go to my grandparents, or when they could no longer host, we went to my aunt and uncle's for Christmas with all of my aunts and uncles and cousins on my mom's side of the family. So that's what we do currently, or now. Now we just do Christmas with our family, and then if we get together with extended family, we usually do that on a different day than Christmas. Growing up, it was always Christmas Eve at Lee and Kay's, and we would stop at my one great aunt's house, my great aunt Harriet. We would stop at her house on the way over to Lee and Kay's, and then Christmas Day we would have stockings at Mom and Dad's, go to my grandma and grandpa's, my maternal grandparents, spend Christmas Day with them, then go to my paternal grandmother's before we went home, and then go home, and then we finally got to open gifts. So as little kids it was hard. We did stockings, and then we're gone all day, and then when we got home we finally got to do gifts. So it was a long wait, looking in the morning and wondering what your gifts were. So.
And that's something your mother maintained even after we were married.
Yeah.
And I was a little bit frustrated with that because that was new to me. And I was like, why are you keeping the little kids after we had kids that long before they can open up presents on Christmas Day?
Actually, she did with mine, and they got to open one
That
before
one.
we went.
she was a dictator when it came to Christmas.
Yeah.
Growing up in my childhood, obviously our adult life, since we've been married, has been the same as Claudine has already said. We rotate back and forth between my parents and her parents and my family and her family. We're about 2.5 hours apart, so we had to do that. Where the difference is, when I was a kid, my grandparents lived close enough that we could actually visit both sets of grandparents, either within the same day or within 2 days apart. As I've said before, we used to spend Christmas Eve here with my mother's parents. This is where my mother grew up, and my mother's parents were here. And so we'd spend Christmas Eve here with the aunts and uncles and cousins. And then Christmas Day would be at our house and open presents Christmas morning. And then usually Christmas afternoon, unless plans change for whatever reason, we would go to my dad's parents, and they only live about 15, 20 minutes north of here. So that's what my Christmas was when I was a kid.
Yeah, both of us grew up near both sets of our grandparents. So we were able to do all in one day or over 2 days or whatever. But being 2.5 hours away from my family, we needed to make that switch. And I would say I kind of enjoyed that because you didn't feel like you were cramming everything into 1 or 2 days. We were able to extend it because we would go up at some time and do Christmas with my parents to start, and then it ended up that we would just do Christmas at Thanksgiving. The last, I don't know, probably 10 or 12 years, we would just do Christmas with them at Thanksgiving, which was nice because you'd get half of Christmas over with as far as present buying, and then you just have to focus on the other. So that was kind of nice too. Number 4, what is your favorite Christmas song?
I had difficulty coming up with a favorite song. There are so many different songs that I like, both the traditional Christmas carols and also modern Christian songs that we listen to. I like Cutlass, This Is Christmas. That's something that Copper Coins has actually done covers of in the past. Chris Tomlin's Joy to the World. That's another one that we like to do, and Copper Coins has done that one as a cover. But there's so many Christmas songs, I couldn't name a favorite.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll put together a playlist and share that with our channel.
We could. Probably my top 2 favorites are How Many Kings by Down Here and
That's a good
Strange Way to Save the World by For Him. That one's a little bit older. It's been out for, I don't know, probably 25 years now,
Yeah.
maybe.
Because we're old.
Yeah. So those are probably my top 2 favorites. But again, it's hard to pick. There's just a ton of good Christmas music out there, so it's hard to pick a favorite of anything. So, we are on number 5. Do you open any presents on Christmas Eve?
Well, we kind of talked about that a little bit. When we go to your parents, or when we went to your parents, we occasionally might open one gift on Christmas Eve, but not always.
Not usually.
Not usually.
Usually, growing up, my mom was still wrapping presents on Christmas Eve. She worked nights, so if she had Christmas Eve off, she would wrap that night. If she worked that day, she might be done wrapping a little earlier. Sometimes she would come home from work on Christmas morning and finish her wrapping. But as a rule, I don't think as with our kids we've ever opened on Christmas Eve per se. Sometimes when we were going up to my parents, we would do like the weekend before Christmas and have our, our family Christmas, and we'd do presents with our kids then, rather than wait till after we got back and rather than take them all with us. So, but as a rule, we don't open Christmas Eve. Growing up, we were at Lee and Kay's, so we opened presents there on Christmas Eve with them, but
And same for me. Growing up, we would open presents here with my grandparents and cousins and aunts and uncles. But typically, our family, normally the kids wouldn't open anything on Christmas Eve, unless possibly they might open the stocking. That's occasionally we've done that, but not always.
And number 6, can you name all of Santa's reindeer?
This would have been funny to have the kids here
Yeah,
because I don't think the
they
kids could have
could.
named them. But growing up, we probably memorized this song because this was a popular song from
Dasher and
even
Dancer.
before we were born, because
Yeah.
this is a Gene Autry song,
Yeah.
I think.
You know,
So,
Dasher and Dancer and Prancer and Vixen,
Comet
and Cupid,
and Donner and Blitzen.
And but do you recall the most famous reindeer of them all?
Rudolph.
So yeah, we can. The kids were talking about this because they had planned to do this with us, and then circumstances we couldn't record when we were going to, and they're gone today to Christmas party. So they weren't sure they could. They said, "Let's just do that together." So I'm not sure. They might have because they do know the song. 7. What holiday traditions are you looking forward to this year?
Thought about it, and at first I said I wasn't sure, but as I thought about it, I wrote something down here. Things have been a bit different since we moved Claudine's mom in with us, and we also now have 2 of our kids married and not living at the old house anymore. I'll probably just look forward to having all of our family together for Christmas. And who knows, we might start some new traditions.
Yep. Yeah, my answer was kind of the same, that, you know, having Shannon and Noah home, and of course Bree and Nick will be able to come Christmas Eve and Christmas morning, and then head to his parents. They live like an hour away, so it's a doable drive for them to make sure they can get to both. So yeah, I don't know of anything else I'm looking extremely forward to, just being together with family. And so, number 8, is your Christmas tree real or fake?
Well, typically, we always get a real tree. We like a real tree for Christmas. Very few times have we had a fake tree, and the times we had a fake tree was when we were going to your parents, and it didn't make sense to have a real tree up while we were gone. So normally it's a real tree. This year again, it's a fake tree.
Yeah, we just don't have the space to put a big tree up where Mom can easily get around it. And so we had gotten a little small, like, tabletop artificial tree a while ago that we would put up when we went to my parents. We had a little bit of a bigger artificial tree that a friend gave us that we used for a number of years, and then that was kind of getting past its life. So I found this smaller one that was tabletop that was a lot less labor intensive as far as setting it up, pull it out of the box and set it on the table, and we leave the lights on it and the angel on it, and usually we don't put any ornaments on it. So kind of been disappointing to not decorate a tree last year and this year, but just it's what you do and you make the best of it. And
yeah, that's one thing.
At least we have a tree.
As the kids have been growing up, it's been one of the traditions we've had with the kids is together as a family decorating the tree every Christmas.
So a little different, but we prefer a real tree. Even though they're messy, yes, you can clean up a mess. The smell and the everything of a real tree is just what we like.
Number 9. What is your all-time favorite holiday treat, food, or sweet?
Holiday food for me would be Kay's spaghetti sauce and spaghetti. Because you got it once a year. We went over to Lee and Kay's for dinner, and she made the best homemade spaghetti sauce. So she's since passed away. We haven't had Christmas with them in quite a few years. But that will always be my all-time favorite food. As far as treats go, I would have to say brown sugar fudge, and Buckeyes are probably my favorite treats. I'm not a huge treat person. Like, I don't like go snack on treats all the time. But those are 2 that you only make at Christmas, so they're special.
Speaking of only make at Christmas, this is something that I grew up with my grandmother making, and occasionally when we have time and Claudine is able to find the right ingredients, she still makes it for me as well. And that's something called church windows.
I have the ingredients. We'll see if I get them made.
She's got the ingredients this year, so fingers crossed. Hoping I get church windows. That's something that I grew up with my grandmother making, and I remember it because she only did it at Christmas time. It was some special treat at Christmas time. It's kind of how would you describe it? A chocolate log.
Yeah, it's
filled
like
with colored marshmallows and coated with coconut.
And there's walnuts in it.
Walnuts, and then you slice them thin, and so the cross section with the colored marshmallows looks like a stained glass church window.
So that's it. That's all you have there.
That's my holiday treat.
Okay. Well, you can have food. Be honest. Do you like giving or receiving gifts? I would definitely say I prefer giving gifts. I like seeing people's reaction to gifts. I like picking out a gift that they want. But that kind of goes to my nature. I would much rather be helping someone and serving someone than being served or being helped. So that's just how I am. So that just kind of goes hand in hand, you know, the same kind of personality trait, I guess. But I am not like Dale and our daughter Brianna, who, when they get a gift for someone, they are so excited that they can hardly contain themselves. They want to give it to you right away.
Okay,
They want to ruin the surprise.
You're going to steal my thunder from my answer. Thanks. I was going to say, I'll be honest, I like both. Who doesn't enjoy getting gifts?
Well, yeah.
But as Claudine said, one of the things that we enjoy, both individually and as a family, is giving gifts to others and doing things for others. And as Claudine led on to, I like to give gifts early because I can't wait to give something to somebody. And my daughter, Brianna, is the same way. That's just who we are.
Whereas I like to let the surprise linger, and you know, my sister and I used to play this game where we would try to guess what the other person got us for Christmas, and we would like, well, what does it start with? And then what does it end with a couple days later, and see if we could figure it out. But we apparently liked to do games where you guessed. So we did that a lot. What is the best Christmas present you ever received?
I had to think about this for a little bit, but then my Star Wars nerd personality came through. And although there's been a number of gifts over the years that I have enjoyed very much and probably could put here on this list, after thinking about it for a little while, I finally came up with the Millennium Falcon by Kenner. Back in the 70s, that was the gift that if you were a Star Wars fan, you wanted to get. It was the largest spaceship you could get, and it could fit all your different figures in there. And you were the bomb if you had the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, that's true. And it's still around, just a little worse for the wear with some missing parts.
It's been worn.
Yeah, it's been used. It's a well-loved Millennium Falcon.
But the kids grew up playing with the Millennium Falcon, and they're Star Wars fans as well.
Definitely got your parents' money's worth out of that.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. I really couldn't think of a favorite gift, so I went with the most memorable gift, and that was my sister and I got a little 13-inch TV for Christmas one year to share. Dad was like, when he was home, what he wanted to watch was what was watched on TV, and we would complain.
Pretty much the same way when we got married.
We would complain, and so they got us a TV one Christmas for the two of us, and had little rabbit ears and was kind of fuzzy reception, but hey, we had a TV, we could watch something different than Dad was watching, and we were happy. So I still remember both of us lifting it up out of the box and how excited we were. 12. What would be your dream place to visit for the holiday season?
You want to answer this first, or you want me to answer first?
I really couldn't come up with one. I don't know. I can't imagine being anywhere but home for the holiday season, so I really didn't have a place in mind.
Probably, if you think about it, home is a great place to be, as long as it's with family. But since this was a place, a location, a dream place to be, to visit for the holiday season, I had to think about what our dream would be if things had gone the way that we had planned. Obviously not the way God had planned. God planned something different, and his ways are always the best for us. But when we first got married, our dream was to build a log cabin, a nice log cabin. And so if I was just to come up with some random dream place to go for a holiday, it would be to a log cabin. I wrote down this answer when I thought of this question. It's a tough question because, as we have said, we like to stay home. We're homebodies. We like to be home with family. Although we do like traveling. We like traveling a lot, but we like traveling with family. So after thinking about it, I guess I would say someplace in the mountains in a large, beautiful log cabin that's all decorated for Christmas, complete with a huge tree in the great room, a crackling fire, hot cocoa, Claudine and our kids and their families, and we're snowed in with no place to go for a week or two and nothing to do but games, puzzles, and movies and watching the snow fall outside the big picture window.
That'd be nice. We don't mind being snowed in.
No, not at all.
13. Are you a pro present wrapper or do you fail miserably?
I'm somewhere in between, I think. I'm not a pro rapper, and I don't necessarily fail miserably. I don't take the time to make every perfect crease and make it look beautiful, but I get the paper on there, and it doesn't look like a wreck, but it's not showcase worthy.
I'm not a pro present wrapper. I just can't take the time to make it perfect. And probably for me, I would say I fail miserably because they don't ever look great, but I tend to be a little harder on myself than maybe I should be. Actually, I have not wrapped very many gifts in the last, I don't know, probably 5 years because Megan has done most of my wrapping. I wrap her presents and that's about it. So
Megan's the taskmaster.
Megan loves...
She gets things done.
She loves to have a task to accomplish.
And she loves to help other people.
She likes to help other people, and she's always after me asking, did you wrap your gifts? Did you wrap your gifts? Did you wrap your gifts? So one year I was like, well, if you want them wrapped, why don't you go wrap them? And ever since then, she pretty much has. So, yeah, she's probably a pro.
Yeah, Megan's the pro.
I'm sure she would call herself a pro present wrapper if she were here. And that probably is very accurate. So, most memorable holiday moment. I would say for me, the Christmas of 1986 was my most memorable, and it wasn't a moment, it was the whole Christmas, because my dad grew up in a family with 11 kids. So there were lots of aunts and uncles, but they didn't all live locally. So that Christmas, everyone but one came home, and all of their kids and grandkids were there. Some of them, I have cousins that are older than me, so some already had families. So that was probably my most memorable Christmas. We had couple gatherings, we, all together, and then we had, where we were, a few of us doing one thing or the other. Most money I ever made on New Year's Eve was babysitting for some of my grown cousins' kids. I don't remember, quite a few kids that I watched, and they all went to bed pretty early. It's the easiest, probably, babysitting time I ever had because the kids went to bed and I was there until they got home, and there were so many kids and all the parents paid me, and I made quite a bit of money that day. But that Christmas of 1986 was probably my most memorable my entire life because that was just a lot of fun.
Thought about this again, and it's tough to pick out most memorable things about holidays. But one particular memory stands out probably after I thought about it, and it's not necessarily a Christmas memory. It's actually something that fell in between Christmas and New Year's. And that was the birth of our first child. And not just because it was the birth of our first child, because all of our kids are special to us and we remember all their birthdays and things that occurred. But because it was our first and it fell in between Christmas and New Year's, and it was during a blizzard with 3 feet of snow. Something about following a snowplow over the hill to get to the hospital is quite memorable.
Yeah, and Dale's aunt and cousin rode in the bed of the truck in the back while his cousin's husband took us to the hospital. So yeah, we weren't sure we'd get to the hospital, but yeah, that was a pretty memorable holiday moment. What made you realize the truth about Santa for number 15?
I think I started picking up on it one year when my parents took my sister and I to get our picture taken with Santa. That's something my parents did every year with us.
Yeah, we did too.
And I got up there and sat on Santa's lap and noticed he was wearing a fake beard. And that pretty much clued me in. And then, of course, I had to, as any older sibling would do, ruin it for my little sister.
Yep. I was going to say, I don't really know. I'm guessing my sister told me that there was no such thing as Santa, but I don't remember when I found out that there was no Santa. But like Dale, we always went and got our picture taken with Santa. In fact, we went on the Friday after Thanksgiving before it was Black Friday, and it was such a big, materialistic thing. That was the one day our whole family went shopping, and we always went and got our picture taken with Santa. I don't know when it was. I was probably fairly young because my sister was 2 years older, so she probably realized it, and then, like older siblings do, I'm sure she told me, so I would know. But I don't remember for sure when that was. I don't know. And 16, last question. What makes the holidays special for you?
Well, this kind of ties in with some of the things we've already said. What makes the holidays special for me is when they're spent with family and memories are being made. That's really all I want for Christmas.
Yep. I had people, because being with people, family, friends, whatever that is, that's what makes the holidays special. I also like that there's less busyness because we tend to, a lot of things we do weekly don't happen, so we have a little bit more time at home and a little fewer responsibilities. And because we've had to separate when we do Christmas with each other's family, that kind of lent to not being as busy over the holidays, which I kind of like because I hate being constantly busy. So.
And of course, because we're a family of faith, the most special thing for us at Christmas time is remembering the birth of our Savior, Jesus Christ.
Yep. So Christmas has always been fun and exciting. The season of Advent has always been a good thing, and lots of memories made, lots of memories still to be made, I hope, and we hope you enjoy learning a little bit about us.
Thanks for sharing a little piece of our Christmas. So to finish off this tag video, we're going to tag 3 other channels, and don't feel any pressure to do this. This is just for fun, so do it if you want to. If you don't, we understand.
Yep.
It's busy holiday season, so 3 channels we're going to tag are Bear Hill Family,
Isabel McLaughlin,
and our friends Derek and Julie Tennant, and we'll link all of their channels down below because Derek and Julie have more than one.
Yeah.
So
You
be
would
sure and check them out.
if you haven't watched them. They're definitely worth it. So thanks, Val at Faith Foster and Fire Life for tagging us in this. We enjoy doing tag videos. They're fun. The questions are things we might not think of to share ourselves. And thank you for watching the video. We're glad that you have watched our channel, and we just ask that you would continue to support us and subscribe to our channel and click the bell for notifications.
And if you like this video, give us a thumbs up down below. And we also like your comments.
See you next time at the old house.